Ode to Bitcoin. When there is an idea that impacts me energetically and emotionally, I often wax poetic. This is my ode to Bitcoin to commemorate its breaching of the $20,000 US psychological barrier. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, how I love thee. Let me count the ways. I'm sure it's more than 3. I might go through sometimes some things here that rhyme. If I did, that might take a lot of time. So that might not happen all the time. There are a few things that come to mind that I would like to share that sometimes seem biblical and sometimes more laissez-faire. I was having a conversation this morning about what is going on in the cryptocurrency universe, and a few ideas emerged that I would like to express here. This idea came to my mind, and I think it's appropriate to share. So take a moment to listen. Hopefully you have a care. Bitcoin is the rabbit that one follows down the hole. It leads to a different universe, a different world, a different experience. The decentralized finance, the digital asset space, the cryptocurrency experience, all these tendrils, branches off the Bitcoin main chain, main tunnel, main vault. The Bitcoin behemoth has been stirred, and it seems to now be in visible motion, causing stirs on the surface and tectonic shifts in the financial infrastructure that exists on a global scale. The earth is moving. The seemingly stable structures on which people build their entire lives seem to be in motion. There is a scripture that speaks of 2 men building, the wise man and the foolish man. The foolish man built a house on sand. It was really easy to set up this house. Not much effort required to dig. Not too much energy needed to think out where to place the house because, for the most part, the landscape was flat. It's pretty straightforward and pretty easygoing where to put the foundations of this house. That's the experience of the person that builds the house on sand. This house goes up really quickly and looks really nice to the uninitiated. There's another man that builds a house on a rock. This house takes a lot more effort to put up. A lot more energy and thought needs to be placed on where the foundations are laid. The ground necessary for construction needs to be surveyed properly, period, and then construction can begin. Over time, both these people finish building their houses and they look very similar on the surface, but their foundations are completely different, period. Something that happens to everyone, to every life, now happens. A storm blows through with gale force winds, major forces buffeting these structures that are now in place, seeking comfort and warmth in their structures, seeking shelter in what they've built. Both these people abide in their dwelling places as the monstrous storm buffets the structures. One of these structures emerges with scratches and signs of the battle that has just taken place. There are scars. The ramifications of the experience are visible and clear. But the house, the structure, the abode, the shelter is intact. Who can speak of the other dwelling place or its inhabitants? It's a memory that seems to fade away as marks written in the sand on the seashore, erased by the waves. For those who need a bit more clarity about what is being said here, it is clear that to build your house, your life, on structures based on fiat currency is to build a house on sand. To build your house, your life, on Bitcoin is a little bit harder, but it is building on solid ground. Bitcoin, to me, is like a gateway drug. Not that I take drugs or have ever taken drugs, but the idea is clear. You start with one thing and get progressively deeper and more involved in that space. A lot of people are talking about marijuana these days, or weed. It's called, just think of the idea of a weed. How many weed killers have been created? How many weed killers are sold at stores? Yet, year after year, weeds come back stronger and more vigorous than the year before. They cannot be killed. They cannot be stopped. So the name weed seems to be appropriate for all you 420 celebrants out there. And it gets you started. Some people might not proliferate. They might not move on to more exotic items in the space, but others use that and get deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole, trying more and more exotic substances. See, you can get started with Bitcoin, and you can stop with Bitcoin, and that's it. That's an excellent place to be. Bitcoin and the news, in the information, in the headlines, that grabs you $20,000 per Bitcoin. That's what might get you started. But where does it stop? How many connections are there to this idea? The number is limitless and growing. Is there such a thing as limitless and growing? Yes, there is. It's the experience of Bitcoin. It's the experience in the digital asset space. Bitcoin leads you to realize that the infrastructure for a new financial experience is being built as we speak in these final days of 2020. The transcontinental railway of finance is under construction. It has enough bandwidth and throughput right now to support major investments, massive inflows of finance and innovation. The ideas, the manpower, and the energetic force of will is there. And only time separates it now from what it is going to be, a visible behemoth that will be recognized rightly for what it is in the time to come, period. So get your Bitcoin now. Stack your Satoshis. Learn about decentralized finance. Learn about the other digital assets in this ecosystem, what they're doing, the various projects that are out there, the hurdles that need to be surmounted. Some that are just in their gestational phases as we speak, like the Pi network social chain that I speak so much about on this channel. Learn them, use them, interact with them, because the Bitcoin behemoth and its tendrils, its offspring, are here to stay. Pandora's box has been opened. What has been loosed cannot be ensnared. What has been bent cannot be straightened. This is the time to go forth and populate the nations that exist in Bitcoin. The Tezos Nation, the Pi Network Nation, the Ethereum Nation. So many nations exist in this space. Nations or even worlds. These worlds combine together to form the digital asset universe. Hodl, you Bitcoin hodlers. Hold on for dear life. This is going to be the ride of a lifetime.